Now, over the course of 2K history, there have been many builds that have been considered broken. And one of those is a 7-foot stretch force from NBA 2K19. And in today's video, we are going to try and replicate that build as best as possible on NBA 2K25. And with this year's contest system, this is definitely possible. But with all that being said, man, let's get started with today's video. Let's go. Now, before we actually get into the My Player builder, here is the jump shot I am using on this build. And I think this is the best jump shot in the game for big man builds at the moment. Base is going to be Jonathan Isaac, release 1, LaMarcus Aldridge, release 2, Larry Bird. 95% LaMarcus Aldridge, 5% Larry Bird. Added that Larry Bird in just to add a little bit more height, a little bit more defensive immunity, and you're going to be able to shoot over people with this jump shot. All right, so when it comes to making this pure stretch forward build, which is basically, again, based off of the builds from NBA 2K19, we're going to be going power forward. Height's going to be 7 foot, weight 225 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan. Now, realistically, you could probably make this build at 6'11", and the build will technically be better because you can get shifty shooter on gold. You can max +1 into Hall of Fame if you want to, but just to have the ability to shoot over people, be able to have the actual height of the stretch bigs from 19, we're going 7 foot, and you're still going to be able to shoot off the dribble really well with this build. So we're going to come in here really quickly. We're going to actually start things off up here in the finishing. Close shot's going to be an 84. That's going to get you paint prodigy on silver. Driving layup's going to be an 80, which is going to get you physical finisher on silver, which is actually really good in this year's game. Driving dunk's going to stay at 65. Standing dunk's going to stay at 75. You can go up to 81, but if you do that, you're not going to get the stretch forward build name at this height, or at least when I tried to do it, that's what happened for me. So if you see this later on in the video and you say, oh, 75 standing dunk, that's not good, you should have went 81, just understand I'm doing it to get the very specific build name. Now for the post control, we're just going to get this up to a 70. It's going to get us post fade phenom on silver. And again, this is another thing that we can't put too high without changing the build name. We'll get like 3 levels, scoring threat and whatnot. And we want stretch 4. We want the 7-foot stretch 4. So now finishing wise, you definitely can get the job done on this build, whether that's as a screener in PNR or whether that's off the isolation, spamming up with the basic escape. Now we're hitting with the snatch back, cross launch, snatch back again into the behind the back. And I'm telling you, you can move crazy on these 7-footers. And honestly, I wouldn't have even done this video unless if I seen the way that Hezi was moving on the 7-foot build. So shout out to Hezi as well for, you know, even kind of inspiring this idea. I was probably going to make a build like this regardless. But again, shout out to Hezi for, you know, kind of giving a little bit of an idea as to how crazy these builds can be. But we haven't even gotten to the best part yet, which is the shooting. Now moving on to the shooting, this is the most important part. 3-pointer, maxed out to an 86. Why not? Right now for the mid-range shot, we're going to put this to an 89. Okay, it's going to get you set shot specialist on gold off the rip, and I'm going to use cap breakers to put that all the way up to a 94. I understand I get nothing at a 94. I realistically only need to go 93 to get set shot specialist on Hall of Fame, but I want to go to 94 because this is, again, a maxed shooting stretch big. Okay, so everything's going to go into shooting. Free throw, we're going to max this out to a 92. Now shooting wise, this build is absolutely insane. And we all know how the contest system is on NBA 2K25. There are aspects to it that are similar to like NBA 2K19, where sometimes it's hard to get contest. If you are taller in this game, you can really just shoot over people. And we haven't really tested the maximum limits of this just yet. I got a 7-3 stretch cooked up that I genuinely think is better than this build, and you can shoot over everybody with that build. We'll talk about that at a later date. But on this build, again, the shooting's really nice. I already gave you guys the jump shot earlier on in this video, so if you made it this far into the video and you haven't seen the jump shot, hey man, that's on you. You got to go back to the beginning. I showed the jump shot there. And then another big thing too that I say in all these videos when it comes to the shooting, make sure you guys are using rhythm shooting when you're playing on these bigs. Get in the lab, understand the rhythm shooting. It's going to be really, really important, and it's going to make it easier to shoot on these builds. And the jump shot is slow enough to where it's not that hard to do it on these builds. Look at this. I'm rhythm shooting fades, just greening it. Now for the takeover, as you can see, I'm using the marksman takeover ability, and I was using the make it rain takeover, which is probably the best one for this because it gives you marksman, it gives you more 3-pointer, and it gives you speed, which is going to help you dex around. It's going to help you move off ball. So it boosts your mid-range 3-pointer and speed by 7, and it gives you the marksman takeover ability, which helps you move off ball better, and it helps you hit standstill jump shots. So perfect take for a stretch big, especially a 19 stretch 4. Now we're coming over here to the playmaking. Now this is where we can talk about our second set of cap breakers, because we're going to put the pass accuracy to an 82. This will give you the ability to put the pass accuracy to an 87 through cap breakers and not lose the stretch 4 name, because if you put the pass accuracy too high, you'll get diamond stretch 4, which isn't really as cool. I want the pure stretch 4 name. So you can put the pass accuracy to 82, put cap breakers on it, and when it gives you the option to change the build name or keep the old one, you just keep the old one. Now ball handle is going to be 74, speed of ball is just going to be 63. You realistically only need to go 60, but I just had a bunch of like tiny attributes left over, but I couldn't really put them anywhere else to make it substantially different. Same thing with the MIDI. That's why I went 94, because I'm just like, there wasn't really a whole lot of other places that I could put in and be like, wow, this is really going to change the build. Interior defense is going to be a 77. Perimeter defense is going to be a 68. Gets you nothing. We just like having maxed out perimeter defense. You really could drop this to 62, get bronze immovable enforcer, but I like having max perimeter defense. It's really nice for jump shot contests. It's really nice for perimeter just defense in general. I mean, hey, that makes sense, right? So when you're guarding somebody, you know, having just a little bit higher perimeter defense is going to make it a little bit harder for them to just blow right past you and get a free bucket. Steal is going to be a 62. Again, there's going to be a lot of attributes that, you know, you could just put down, right, to just their attribute thresholds that you need, right, to eventually set them up perfectly. But again, I just had a bunch of little tiny attributes left over, and it didn't make anything substantial different about the build. So we're gonna put the defensive rebound to an 85. Offensive rebound is going to be a 78, and then the rest of this is gonna go into block. And this is the build. This is the build again. So we get gold paint patroller on this build, gold high flying denier, gold box out beast, only silver rebound chaser. But again, you're a power forward. You don't have to have crazy rebounding. And if you're going up against like the traditional like 6'7s with super high rebounding, hey, you're way taller than them. You'll still be able to get a lot of rebounds simply because you are tall. And we're still pretty fast on this build. We're only 225, so we still get 74 speed, 64 agility. This is going to help with the off-ball movement, the dexing and whatnot. Strength's going to be an 83, silver brick wall, gold box out beast, 80 vertical for that's gold high flying denier. Now, realistically, I have a high enough rating. Again, this is the whole main point about we made this in a very specific way to get a build name, okay? So I cut a lot of corners here. This is not a great build when it comes to being like the most meta way possible to make this build. I simply made it to get the stretch 4 build name, okay? And I did it in the best way possible. And if I started putting this vertical too high, it was going to put the standing dunk too high, and I wouldn't get the stretch 4 build name. I'd get 3-level scoring threat, 3-level this, 3-level that. So we only have gold high flying denier, even though we have enough block and speed rating to get it on Hall of Fame. But that's just a sacrifice that we had to make this build the way that we needed to get the stretch 4 name. So yeah, this is pretty much the build. First set of cap breakers is going to go into MIDI. Second set of cap breakers go to pass accuracy for 87. And then if you somehow, some way get to legend whatever the hell you need, maybe put it into vert so you could get the high flying denier on Hall of Fame. You only need 3 more, so then you put like 2 somewhere else. I don't know where you put the final 2, but I mean, yeah, that's just how I would do it. But this is the stretch 4 build. I think it's a very fun build. It's a very good build, very easy to score on. You can just shoot over people. As you can see right here, we come out of the My Player Builder. We're gonna get shades of Rashad Lewis, Evan Mobley, and Jabari Smith Jr. And we are going to get the build name stretch 4, which is the whole point of making this build. I'm super glad I was finally able to find a way to make this on a 7-foot build. Kind of easy to make it on 6'11 to get the stretch 4 name. Is a lot more tricky on a 7-foot, but hey man, very fun build. I totally enjoy playing on this build. But yeah man, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out, man. Later.